Hello, everyone. Happy Republic Day to all of you. And before we start the session, I just explain what is this talk show is about. This talk show is for the sales professionals, business owners, and women in sales, where we bring international CEOs, sales coaches, and sales leaders. Here we talk about their sales journey, challenges, selling skills, and strategy for success. The purpose of the show is to inspire and to achieve greater success in sales and business. So let's start the session. So before I introduce you all, Sukhdev Siddhi, I just want to explain him what he is about. Little introduction, then there will be an intro video, then I will introduce him. Yeah. So Sukhdev Sethi, founder and CEO, Wealth on Command, and Sukhdev is a global sales award winner and closer of the year 2019 in high ticket sales across 150 countries. He is the first person across 5 continents to ever win this award. He empowers business owners and entrepreneurs to monetize their skills and maximize their sales, and by assisting them in building high performance sales team. In the last 12 months alone, his business has grown by over 560%, and his clients has made over $5.2 million in sales. So he's a loving father and a caring husband. And he born in Thailand, grew up in India, and presently he lives in Sydney. So this is a small introduction, but we will talk with him more. And he really have a very close conversation with Dan Lok. So we will also ask his experience from Dan Lok, and he's 3 times a global sales award winner from Dan Lok himself. It is a six figure award that took consistently 3 times he has won. So we will ask the secret how he has got consistently six figure award. So now I'm going to put a small intro video. Then I will introduce Sukhdev Siddhi.
It's not about selling.
It's much more than getting customers. It's about connecting with people.
Hello, Sukhdevji.
Hello.
Yeah, so thanks for joining on our show. It's an honor and pleasure to have you here. And so, just a little about yourself, just for the audience.
So for me is I'm currently coming live from Sydney, Australia. I've been here for 15 years now. Immigrated from Thailand, grew up in India. Okay, so when I came here, I had zero sales knowledge. I was in a job working in an IT company. So I grew up the corporate ladder, and then I sort of said that, you know what, I want to really give back to my family, so that I can actually give back to community as well. So one of the ways that I found that how can I give back is actually when I create my own business, I needed to learn sales. So that's when I sort of said, okay, good, I need to learn sales. I need to actually learn how to bring in clients. And when I did that, I found a way on transitioning out of my job, build my business. And today I've actually got my business for the last 2 years now. I've quit my job. I've got clients from 18 different countries, and I'm happy to actually make an impact in this world. And my goal is by 2028 August, I want to impact at least 10 million people's lives
Wow,
positively. So
wow,
that's what I'm doing.
such amazing. You have a goal, and we wish you all to achieve the goal. Sukhdevji.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
first and foremost, many have a doubt what is high ticket closing.
So high ticket closing. Let's look at the word closing first. People get confused about closing.
Yeah.
Closing actually means when you have a when you close a sale, when a client pays you money and the money reaches your bank. That's when we say a sale is closed, right? So it's that whole process is called closing. Now, if the sale is a high ticket, now the word high ticket is it's dollar value range. I use the word dollar. I can speak in rupees as well, uh, but really it's very relative to the market. But a key benchmark is if it's anything above $2,000, consider that as a high ticket. Okay, so if you're in a market that's selling maybe $100, $200, something much above that is actually considered high ticket. Okay, so if you take another industry selling a car, for example, that's a high ticket. So the word high ticket is something of a higher value, and the word closing is the process of sales closing. So high ticket closing, if you combine that together, is the process of closing sales of high value.
Okay, so I think that's the very simplest way people can understand. I hope
Yeah.
audience understood what is high ticket closing. And in your introduction, you said you didn't know anything about sales before
Hmm.
you get to know about HTC. But is it because many will have such doubt, like I don't have sales experience, will I able to do high ticket closing?
Hmm.
What is that you want to convey?
So sales is actually I actually thought that way as well. When I started, I was in an IT job. I never did sales. I thought that. But when I started learning about sales, like professionally, how to do it, it boils down to one thing. And that one thing is like working with people, connecting with people. And that's when I realized, when I was in my job, I'm actually talking to people all the time. That's actually sales. So then I looked into it deeply. Like you and I, we're talking right now. If I can take an idea, like you're asking me a question, if I can take an idea and I can explain to you and you understand that, that's a form of sales. Like a mother talking to a daughter and helping the daughter grow and say, Do this, do that." The mother is selling to the daughter why to do something. That is sales. When I'm working with an employee or a staff and says, you need to do this, this is why we want to do, this is how we can get results, I'm selling the idea. That is sales. When it
Hmm.
comes to a client to pay you money, the product, you're saying why it's good, and in exchange of that product, give me money, right? So in this transaction, money is involved. In the other transaction, money is not involved, but it's sales. We are selling all the time. It's just that we don't put the word sales to that. We associate the word sales with money, but we're selling all
Hmm.
the time. So that
Yeah.
would be the best, simplest way I would actually share with you how to look at sales.
That's great. I want to know, like, you said from 9 to 5 to entrepreneur. Like, I know many will stuck in that, like the transition period. Like, how it all happened? Was there really challenges, or was it
Hmm.
easy going?
Okay, so it was not an easy. There was a lot of challenges. Okay, and I'm not saying quit your job. No, in fact, what I learned in my job, while I was in my job and sales, I was doing it together. What I learned from here in sales, I went back to my job and I applied with my team, with my managers, with my bosses, with my other clients. I applied it there, and that relationship grew. And when it became much better, I started seeing how can I transition out. So what I did is I still had a full-time job, but I was doing sales on the part-time, where I was like, okay, now let me transition into a sales where people pay me money. Can I really get money for this? So I took on a small opportunity. I started seeing money coming in. I was like, this is good. But if I quit my job, the job is here, the sales income is here. I needed to bring this to this level so that I can comfortably move out and then take this to the next level. So if anybody is looking at transitioning out of their job and take a career as a sales or part-time, don't just quit. Stay in your job. Okay, stay in your job. What you learn, do it on the side, practice it at work, get the income on the side to a level where you feel comfortable that okay, I can transition. That's what I would do. And that's exactly what I did. So that will actually make it feel a lot easier.
Yeah, I feel like the one thing which is really important to become an expert and to balance both, till you get a standard income on your passion is a massive action. Like, do
Hmm.
you believe that, Sukhdevji?
Yes, so action is everything. Okay, so when I was in my job, this is in 20 June 2018. That's when I started officially thinking when to quit. I eventually quit in December, like transition out of my job in December 2019. So it took me about 1.5 years. It was not that one day I woke up to say, I'm going to quit my job. And no, it's not that. So what did I do in that 18 months, right? I
Yes.
had a full-time job, which was 40 hours. I actually took another 50 hours a week doing sales on the side. So I was actually doing it 90 hours for 18 months, right? Because I really wanted to understand how do I use the sales skills to get money. So yes, it you need action. Okay, that's because I'm transitioning out of my job. But if I was happy to be in my job and do sales on the side, you don't need 90 hours. You can do that 4 5 hours a day also, you know. But without taking what you learn and implement, you're not going to get the income. So action is absolutely key. Action is absolutely key.
Because my friends also, they want to, have this transition, but they stuck initially just to get the POC. People are not trusting them to give the closing opportunities. They don't know how to approach, even though they apply many places, they're not getting it. I really want you to give some advice to all of them who are
Hmm.
struggling to get into that.
Okay. So POC means
Proof of concept.
okay, great. So you're looking at if you're in a job and you want to get a income on the side doing sales. The key here, and this is a fact, okay, is if you are looking for an opportunity to get the highest amount upfront, that's a wrong mindset. Okay, I would encourage is in the beginning when you're doing sales, you will be really terrible at it. I was really terrible. Okay, so the key advice I want to say, number one, would be you have to be willing to be to feel that you are terrible so that you can grow. Okay, a lot of people, what happens is they're like, yes, I've done the training, now I'm awesome, I've got a certificate, give me the most money. No, real life experiences we need. So my encouragement is when you're in a job transitioning out, find an opportunity. Even if they don't pay you, no problem, you got your job on the side, get the experience. Because in that experience, when you take the first phone call, the second phone call, the third, you will feel like this is really tough, you will feel this is really hard, you will feel like giving up. That's what I felt. But once you do like 10, 20, 30, 50 phone calls, you'll be like, okay, I think I can do this. So that's until you get to that 30, 40, 50 phone calls on the side, then only you'll get the feeling that, oh, I think I can do this. And when you think you can do it, then the sales will start coming. When the sales starts coming, you'll get an income. And now
Hmm.
you can look for other opportunities to actually grow your income. Your job is there, you grow your income here till it becomes on the same level. Then you transition out. So
Wow,
don't
that's
look
good.
for an opportunity. Don't look for an opportunity right up front says, I want the maximum money. No, it doesn't happen that way. Okay. So start from the bottom, be willing to be terrible at it so you can actually grow in that role. That's
And
what I would encourage.
yeah, that's a great advice, I really feel, because some of my friends, they quit the job having a confidence that they can really do well, but it's actually not happening. I think the
Hmm.
great advice is parallelly manage both until you really have a confident on it. And one
Absolutely.
consequent question is, uh, if you're a high ticket closer, is it means that you have to start with a high value closing for a coach, or even you can start with a low value
Yep.
closing?
So very good question. Okay. Let's go back to the job. Okay. Because I know a lot of people are actually in the job which you're talking about. When you start your job for the very first job, you've graduated from a university, I've got a degree, yes, I can do any job. But when you start that first job, it's not the maximum pay you're getting. You're still very scared. You're still figuring out, can I do this job? Can I not do this job? That feeling is the same when you do sales on the side, right? So when you start your job, it's like you're not getting the best amount, but you know that let me just put my foot in the door, let me see how it goes, let me learn. Same thing with sales. You want to go high ticket, you first learn how to actually pick up the phone, Understand the feeling when someone rejects you. Understand the feeling on how to close. So start with a small ticket, it's fine. Okay, start with just taking a phone call. Start with just doing an outbound call. Get that experience, get that feeling. And then when you're a little bit more comfortable, okay, now let me increase my price. Now let me increase a bit more. Now a bit more. It takes a bit of journey. If you go from not knowing how to close sales straight up there and you can't close sales, you will then feel that this is not for you. But if you go
Mm.
through this path that I'm saying, start with zero, slowly, slowly go up. You will build your confidence as you go. And when the money comes in, then you can quit. I would
Wow,
encourage to do that.
that's great. One more question I have a doubt is like whether we should really qualify the influencer before we agree for a closing job. Is it mandatory? Because we don't know whether they're authentic or not.
Okay. So the key here is, so the word influencer here is, if you're going to close for someone, the person who gives you that closing opportunity, we call that the influencer. Would that be the same meaning you're at? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Okay,
true.
great.
Yes.
So in this case, you see, it's like when you take a job. I'm coming back to the job, right? It's like when you come to the job, you're looking at an interview. Is this role, do I really want this role? Can I do this role? Do I have the skills? Yes, no. Same thing. If an influencer is coming to you, you want to ask yourself a couple of questions. The industry they're in, do you want to be in that industry? Do you want to work in that industry? That's the first question, right? Because if you don't want to work in that industry, it's like in a job. You don't want to work in that company. Why would you be there? Same thing when an influencer comes, just think yourself, is this someone that I want to work with? Is this someone I resonate with? Right? Don't even worry about the money to start with. At the beginning, don't worry about the money. Go for experience. But when I say experience, very important, you need, number one is this industry I want to be in, right? Is this company matches where I can go in the future? So qualify from that perspective. Okay, that is more important than qualifying from how big is the money you're going to give me, how much commission you're going to give me. That is not the first question you want to ask when you're starting out. That can be asked later. But yeah, qualify from those two questions. I think they would actually help you. That even if it's tough, you'll be like, I want to be here. You'll find a way out. That's why we do that.
And there is somebody will have kind of a negative mindset. If I do it for free, people will take it for a granted. Is it
Mhm.
true, Sukhdevji?
So if you don't have the skills and you go and ask money for it, why would someone pay you?
Mm,
Yeah. When you went to a job, right? Even a lot of times now, when you applied from college, people do internship. A lot of internships are free, right? Internship is to get you the experience.
mm,
So
correct.
look at it from this perspective. I'll change it a little bit. When you're a salesperson, you go in a company. What is the company doing? The company is opening up the books to you. The company is giving you all the leads to you. They've paid money for it. they that's the trust they're having in you. They want to see whether you can do it, right? So look at the trust they're putting in you. Look at it from the point that I will learn about the experience. I will learn about how to make an outbound call. I will learn about the support I get. I will learn about how this company manages teams. I will learn about other people in the job. I will learn of how I can actually handle objects. If you take that for an X period of time, maybe 6 months or 3 months or 6 months, then you actually will say, oh, now I think I can do this. Now you bring your value. So I would actually encourage from that. Don't just go in that, oh, you're not giving me money, I'm not going to close for you. No. At a start, you have no value. They can go find someone else, right? So go in, just by them opening up, they're already giving you more than what you're giving to them. So go and work your way up. It's like a job, right? You work your way up to get more and more money. Same thing here.
And uh, just can I have a easy process? What is high ticket closing process? It would be just for audience to know.
So I'll probably talk about the sales process. Okay. I think
Yeah.
it all starts with the mindset. The number one
Mm,
thing, right? Is you will not be able to close a high value ticket if you yourself don't invest in high ticket. You see? So for example, if you if you're going to buy an iPhone, right? There's a different level of, should I buy an iPhone or should I buy another phone that's not expensive as an iPhone, right? There's already a thought process. And if you're comfortable buying an expensive iPhone, you'll be comfortable buying another thing that's expensive. But if you're not comfortable buying something expensive, you'll always buy something that is actually less expensive. And if someone comes and asks you, hey, should I buy the iPhone? You're not going to be able to sell them on the idea to buy the iPhone because you yourself are not buying. So
Mm.
it starts with that mindset of how you feel about the ticket size you're in. That's the first part. And the second part, let's say you're comfortable with that, you're comfortable with money. The second part will actually be, okay, what problem can I solve on this call for someone? If you understand the problem, your prospects coming to you, you know what problems they are, then you talk about the results they want. That's the third step. And then you talk about the solution you can offer. What
Mm.
happens? People get this wrong. People talk about the solution first. But how do you know your solution is going to solve their problem? They won't know. So, mindset, then the problem, then talk about the result, then talk about your solution. And then you ask for the money. So, it's that process that I would encourage you to do.
Wow, that's a very simple way to understand. Now, my next question is how to close more deals,
More deals in terms of high ticket or just any
high
deal?
ticket. Yeah.
Okay. So, like when you go into a job, right? When you start first, you're like, I don't know how to do this. Then you, after some time, you're like, this is so easy. I can, what took me 1 hour can now take me half an hour. And then as you grow up the ladder, the work becomes easier and easier and easier. And then you say, this is done. Now let me get a new job. I want to get promoted. When you get promoted, oh, this is so hard. And then you keep doing, and then you grow up the ladder faster, it becomes easier. Same thing when you're actually doing a sales job on the side, right? You're closing. At first it will feel hard, but when you keep doing more and more, you will start closing higher ticket deals, and then you will automatically start understanding, how can I go from a 1 hour phone call to a 45 minutes phone call to a 30 minutes phone call? Or you know what, in 5 minutes this person is not someone it's serious. You will learn how to do that. But unless you go through this experience here yourself, you cannot cut down the call, you cannot increase the number of calls, and you cannot go high ticket as well.
Okay, great. Yeah. So just Subiksha is online. I'm just saying hi to her.
Hello, Subiksha. Yes. So you can ask me questions as well. Happy to take
Yeah.
questions from your audience as well, if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And one more is like I've also attended your webinar on sales confidence, and that's really amazing. So I want to know, like, is the confidence is really important in closing, and why?
Okay. So confidence is absolutely important. Okay. Think about this. If you are asking me here and I'm not really confident, I'm like really talking to you like that, you'd be like, why am I even talking to you? Correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
So confidence is key. But the key here is, how do you build that confidence? Right? So, uh, when you started in your job for the very first time, you're not, I'm using the job example a lot because people are sort of, some of them are in a job,
Yes,
some of them are
maximum.
transitioning
Yeah,
out, right?
that's
So
true.
when you started the job the very first time, you're like, I hope I get this job. When you get the job, you're like, now what? How do I do the job? What do I do? You're like really scared, right? You're not that confident. But as you go, day one, week one, month six, you get confident more and more. But what is it really that built that confidence? You kept doing whatever you needed to do. And when you kept doing whatever you needed to do, you built your skills. And when your skills were at a competent level, you were confident. Same thing in sales. When you start out first, even when I started out, I was not confident. I was like, I was terrible at it, right? When I was in my job, I never did it. But what I did was, I said, no matter what, I'm okay to be terrible at it. Because when I realize I'm terrible, I can only go up. So I started doing role plays. I started practicing. I started doing talking. I started applying what I got in my team. And when I did that every single day, I built upon my skills.
Mm.
And within like 6 months, I was like, oh, I'm really confident now. And then I shot up. So confidence is important, but how you build the confidence up, that's even more important. And
It's
by
by
doing it every day.
practice.
It's by practice every single day. And If I can share a little quote about
Sure.
practice, you probably
Sure.
would have heard, right? Practice, practice till you get perfect, right?
Yeah,
Don't do
that's true.
that. Don't do that. Okay. I actually say practice, practice, practice till it becomes permanent.
Wow.
And
That's great.
then after that, practice, 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 practice even more till you can't get it wrong. Yeah.
That's really great. Yeah.
So if you
Well,
that's what practice does. Don't go for perfection. Just keep practicing until you can't get it wrong. And that's exactly what will happen.
that's true. Even if you go heights, still there is something to learn to move much more.
Absolutely.
It's
You'll
em-
never get perfect. No, because the world is changing. People are getting smarter. The techniques that you used to do sales was working in the past. As the world goes, that doesn't work. So you got to improve. And how will you learn what needs to improve is if you keep practicing and practicing. And the
yeah.
confidence will build, the skills will build, the competency will build, the results will show.
Even my mentor, you also know Dev Gadvi. He always say, don't wait for perfection. Start, even if it is imperfect action. It is better to start. The more you start, practice, then you will be more perfect.
Yes,
So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. And my next question is, how to increase high income skills.
Okay. So sales is one of the high income skills. Okay.
Okay.
The formula is the same. Formula is the same. You see, when I was in a job, I had zero skills. The first decision was, you know what, I needed to do it. So I took the skills here. Now, when you said I want to do it, you're right at the bottom. You have to acknowledge you're terrible at it. You have to acknowledge that. And you have to be willing to do the things when you're still terrible.
Mm,
Most of
got
the
it.
people, they're like, it's too hard, I can't get it. It will happen. And then when you get this, you keep taking action, you get better. When you get better at one skill, now you're saying, what is the next skill I got? The next skill, again, you make the jump. Oh man, this is so hard. It's so difficult. You will feel that. And then you keep going, 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 and then you go. But the key here is you take one skill at one time to start with.
Mm, mm,
When you become better and you've done multiple skills, then your body and your mind can accept taking two, three skills at one time. But start
mm,
with one skill at one time and perfect that, master that. When I say perfect that, perfect the process of I got to be really terrible, then I got to do this, then I got to do this, then I got to. Once you get that right, then you keep taking more skills and follow the same process.
mm.
And you
I
start
think
getting a lot more skills.
I think it's what I'm learning from you is the confidence, willingness to, even if you fail, you have to have the willingness to move forward. And unless you do not have confidence, you cannot charge others money. So first, you should build the confidence and practice more and more. Those things are very important. So now
Yes.
Subiksha asking, yeah, yeah,
Yep. No,
Subiksha,
no, ask me the question is here. I can see it. Yep.
what would be the best way to approach people to convert them into a prospective lead?
So the question by Subiksha is what would be the best way to convert people uh, into a prospective lead, right? To convert them into a prospective lead. I think we get the question a little bit around, okay?
Yeah,
So the key here is when they are your strangers, you convert them into a lead first, and then from a lead, you become a client, okay? So here the question is what would be the best way to approach people to convert them into a prospective lead? So what the question here, and I might have got the question wrong, is a stranger to a lead, right? What
yeah.
we are talking here is closing is means converting a lead to a paying customer. A lot of people focus on I want leads, I want leads, I want leads. Leads is not what you want. You want people that pay. Okay.
Mm.
So focus. The question I would encourage you, Subiksha, is how do I convert leads into paying clients? Okay.
Mm.
And that would be, but if you want more leads, what happens in front of that? The market today, they're looking at your social media presence, they're looking at your authority. So that's also a sales process, converting a stranger into a lead. So work on how people see you on social media, how you dress, how you speak, how you talk, how you want to help. And then people will then come into your network, and they come into your network by being a lead first, and then you focus on I want the sale. I hope that answered the question. Just type in the word yes if you've got it, Subiksha.
Subiksha, yeah. So Duriraj
Great.
has joined. Yeah. So now I want to know, like, what is that? Like, first of all, I want to know what is the feeling you had when you received the first ever award from Seafood Unlock?
So my first So my first ever award, I received three awards in one shot, right? So
Okay.
it was like a whole massive intake of emotions at that time. So the first award is actually, if you can see this award here, this
Yeah,
one
I
here,
can see.
yeah, this
Yeah,
one
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah,
That was
yeah,
my
yeah.
first award. That award was actually closing sales over 100,000 US dollars, right? So 100,000 US dollars in rupees would be about 75 lakhs. Yeah.
75 lakhs. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my first that one there. That one there.
Okay.
On the same day, because I'd already closed over $1 million, which is over 7 crores. I also made commission six figures. Okay. So that was the award right up there. That one there. That one there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
these two I received in the same time, on the same day in September 2019. And at the same event, I also received the Closer of the Year award across over 6,000 people across 150 countries. I won the sales closer, that is the Closer of the Year award. And that was like, there's a video on me on YouTube as well. You can just search it, just say Sukhdev Sethi champion. You'll see the video. I went up on the stage, I was like tears in my eyes in front of like
Okay.
so many people. And I was like full of emotions and I was crying
Wow.
and I was like, oh, what is this? So it was full of emotions. And I never thought I would actually get this because, and this is a thing, and it's a good question because it's over 150 countries, 6,000 over people. Someone from zero sales background, some, and English is also not my first language, right? From zero, and I look so different compared to others. Some people say, can an Indian actually win an award? So I debusted all the myths, right? Your
Yes.
English doesn't need to be great. You can come from a zero background. I speak with an accent as well. I'm Indian. I look different, but I still won the award. So this is
Wow.
what I want to share with someone is, don't let your look stop you. Don't let your accent stop you. Don't let your past stop you. Don't let your experience stop you. It's possible. So that was the full emotion, and that's why I cried. I was like, I couldn't believe it, you know. And that was a great feeling I had. So thanks for asking that question.
Yeah, but it's really inspiring and admiring, and you should be a leading example for all of us. I really feel because from the zero background and from 9 to 5 job and from India, I think it's a proud feeling for an Indian country. Whatever
Yes,
you have got
correct.
from
and
Danlok.
and that award, although I was born in Thailand, I grew up in India, and I live in Australia now. But that award that I won, I was the first person across Asia, Africa, Europe, South America, and South Africa to ever win that award. So first person across 5 continents, you know
Wow,
and the
that's
last
great.
person was from North America. But I came from zero background, zero sales background, right? So if you're listening to this, anyone here is, you can do this. It's very
Mm.
simple. Just follow the process, like I said earlier, right? If you're in a job, do it on the side, practice, 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 and you'll get there.
Before they get on to closing opportunities, should they practice for how long? Just with the role plays or something? Is it
Yeah.
necessary, or directly they can jump into influencer?
So I think practice is actually important. Think of it this way, okay? So before you get a job, you're doing some kind of a training, you're doing some kind of a bachelor's, master's. That is your training. You get exams to say how good you are. All this, the curriculum that's built, it's allowing you to feel that I'm actually at a particular level. Yeah. Same thing when you're doing the skills on the side, you're learning how to do sales, you start practicing it. And how did I practice? I'll share that with you. So I
Yeah.
used to come back from work every night. I used to get onto the phone. I had a group of people. We used to role play among ourselves. That was the first time. The second thing, what I did was I learned that sales is really just about connecting people together. So I
Hmm.
took what I was learning in sales, I went in my job, and I started applying the concepts with my team, with my peers, with my bosses. So what I then did was every single day, every single minute, every single second, I actually integrated the sales and my job together. So I became someone who was practicing every single second. So I integrated it.
Wow.
And that actually just took me to the next level. So don't
Mm.
wait. I'll come back from my job and I will do a role play on the side. I will practice on the side. No, you take that, you embrace it, and you apply it every single minute, because sales is every single minute. You're asking me a question now. If I cannot articulate properly, if I cannot explain to you properly, and if you don't understand me, means that I didn't do the sale properly. But if
Mm.
you can
Yes.
understand and you can have moments that, wow, this is great, I'm doing a good job. Does that make sense? So take that and apply it. And when you do that every single day, now if someone comes and asks you how many years experience you've got, I've done only 3 months, right? Look, I might have, in terms of the elapsed time, it's only 3 months, but I've actually had conversation with prospects, over 100 prospects, right?
Wow.
So now your experience is not just valued in 3 months, it's how many phone conversations you had. The role play, that's also a practice, right? You can apply that.
Wow. That's a
Mm,
great tip.
mm.
And one more thing, in India, I see the closer, kind of a closer job, those things and all is very new to hear. But do you see there is a opportunities in future for India, especially?
So the role of a sales closer, it's not new. It's been there since ever. Think of it this way, right? Every company has a sales team. The people who
Yes.
are working in there, they're doing sales, right? So sales, it's just that we call it closing. It's because you're closing a sale, right? This profession is already there, but it's a different type. The technique used in closing is slightly different. It's you're not pushing the sale, you're not being like manipulative. You're actually really connecting, you're asking the right questions. The process sales, every company in India has, but the methods of them using, it's very pushy. That's why people have this method that I don't want to be a salesperson, because they feel it's pushing. But if you apply the concepts of I don't want to push, let's care for one another, let's connect, and then let's convert, you can actually apply that in any sales job. So look around you in India, look around companies that have actually got a sales team, look around training educations that have got a sales team, look around travel industries that have got this, look around hotel industries, look at every industry, they all have a sales team. You can start in a job as a salesperson as well. If in a company, you are in a company, maybe you're in IT, and there's a sales department, apply to be an intern in the IT department. From an IT, say that, hey, I want to do another job in the sales department. So go there, start applying it. And then if you're ready to transition out of your job, do it. So the opportunities are there, the role is there. It's people are not looking at it from that perspective. They're all looking, ki, I want to do IT, you
Uh,
see. But
yeah.
without the sales team, the IT people won't have a role, because they're
Correct.
bringing in the money. So every company has a sales team. Be in that team.
Maybe the other way I want to put this question is outsourcing somebody for a closing for them.
Hmm. So
That
what
is
happens?
something new, I feel.
So many countries, even India, for example, uh, when a company grows to a particular level, okay, at first everybody does the sales internally when they're at a particular level. When they grow a little bit larger, now the team needs to expand. So what they do is they bring training companies in to train their staff. Sometimes they actually says that, okay, my team is going very large, outsource it. So the outsourcing of the sales team happens, but it happens at a larger company.
Mm.
Most of the people at the level of when they're starting out as a solopreneur, they're doing it themselves. So all the more reason, if you're a solopreneur, if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're a business owner, you need to learn that skill, how to convert leads into paying clients. And
Mm.
then when you grow, then you outsource it. But you're right, the outsourcing part at this level doesn't happen, it happens at a much bigger level.
Okay. So the special question for you is the experience from Sifu. What do you
Yeah.
admire the most from him?
So he's my mentor, as you know, Dan Lok. I think the whole aspect of the mindset aspect, teaching you that, look, don't be desperate. Okay, think from an abundance perspective, things from gratitude perspective. I think that's really the number one aspect that I got. Because if you come from a desperation, if you come from a jealousy perspective, if you come from a point that, you know what, I don't want to work for this person for free, they're taking my, if you come from that, you're not going to get the value, you're not going to get the skill. So I've learned that abundance mindset. Be grateful to the people that have helped you. When you're grateful, your energy changes. When your energy changes, people want to be around you. You know, that's the number one thing that I got. The second thing I got is how I speak, how I talk, how I position myself, how I actually sort of help people give back. Now you're grateful, you're learning, you're succeeding. Now give back as well. So that's what I learned from him. That's what I admire the most, where he taught me about how to really think in abundance. And what I learned, give back. Because when you give back, when you see other people grow, you're happy, you're proud, you're fulfilled that, people are growing. And that's what I actually admire the most.
It's like you just have a mindset to give more, then things will fall in place. That's what you mean.
That's right. That's right. And it comes in a process as well. At first, when we start, we don't have enough for ourselves at first. When we start, even when I started, I was like, but I need first. It's okay to actually say that, look, I want to look after myself. It's absolutely fine. Like, if you don't look after yourself first, you cannot help others. There's no way. So look after yourself. How do you look after yourself? Is you learn the skill, learn the skill, be good at it, so you can apply the skill to bring an income. Now, when you learn the skill, now if you think about it, I need to look after myself first, right? And I get a job or I get a sales skill that they're not paying me, no problem. I'm looking after myself, I'll give value, because at the end I'm getting the skill for myself. Just by doing that, you're already giving value. And when you become good, you're bringing in income. Because you were giving value from the start, you become a person, when you grow, you give more and more. So it just
Mm.
goes hand in hand. Does that make
Got it.
sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think the universe supports when you give more.
Yes.
It shows more. Yeah.
Correct. But the reason people don't want to give more, and I've seen this, and I've been there myself as well, is
Mm.
I don't have enough for myself. Why should I give?
Mm.
So where I started is by me focusing, I want more, but how can I get the skill? Is okay, let me give you my time, you give me the skill. I give you time, you give me
Mm.
skill. You see? But I'm getting skill, but I'm giving you my time. So it starts with me giving time. Don't worry about paying me. I'll give you my time, you give me the skill. But I'm
Mm.
learning. And then, as I grow, I can share more as well.
That's the very good point here. We have to see the skills in terms of money, in place of money
Yeah,
initially. Yeah. And
absolutely. Absolutely.
so now, especially for a women in sales who are watching, so I want to ask certain questions related to
Mm,
women in sales.
yeah.
There are some articles I've read which said women are the better closer.
Mm.
What do you see,
So I
Sukhdevji?
think both have its strengths. Okay, men and women both have their strengths. Uh, what we don't see a lot in certain cultures is women closers. Okay, we don't see a lot. We don't see a lot of women in sales. We don't see that. Why? Is because there has been put a the way it has been done in the past. The people who do sales, they are out on the road, they're doing door knocking, they're going out. So in certain cultures, in certain countries, going out going out on the road and knock door, it's not safe, it's not secure. So a lot of people discourage women from doing that. Okay, so that's probably where it started. And
Yes.
over time, what's happened now is, instead of going out, you can now do it at home. So what's happening is, a lot of people are like, hey, this is good. I can be a housewife, I can be a homemaker, I can look after my kids, and I can do this at home. So because of the number is less, people have heard a lot of male. When they hear female, they're like, oh, this is different. This is good. I want to hear more of that. So the perception can be they're better. It's because people want to hear more of this, of the female people, right? How do you close? And eventually, the playing field will level. There'll be a lot more women in the industry as well, because there's very few. Supply is less, demand is more, right?
Mm.
So people want to hear a different side of sales now. Women can come in more from, even if you look at recorded messages in companies, right? It has a female voice to it, because there's research done that that is a bit more calm, that is a bit more appealing, right? That is a bit more people, it's more captivating. So same thing
Mm.
in sales, people want to hear more of uh, women, because they connect differently, they listen differently. And there are certain industries that are better with women closers. For example, if there is an industry helping, let's say in medical, only for female, the patient on the other hand feels a little uncomfortable if they're talking to a male. They might feel more comfortable talking to female, right? There are certain health issues which a female only discusses with another female. And also, like, sometimes there's a lot of health, mental health, mindset. People are more comfortable if a female wants to discuss a relationship, more comfortable discussing with the female closers, right? So in this perspective, they appear a lot better, right? Just because the supply is less, the demand is more, encouragement is more female in, there's a lot of opportunities here. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
100%.
Yeah,
Because I want to specifically forward this capture to all the housewives in my apartment and the apartment.
yeah,
Like, I see they all, even some of them approach me, like, can I get some job where I can work only 2 or 3 hours in a day?
yeah.
So that, when I talk to housewives, they always have that guilty feeling that they're not earning, they're dependent. And
Hmm.
really see this closing opportunity will give them, in a day, 2 hours if they work, they can really earn at least some amount.
Yeah.
So do you, how do you see Sukhdevji?
Okay, so this is a great opportunity. So when I started,
Sure.
I'll share with you how I started. Okay, so I was in a job, like full 40 hours in a job, right? I was like, I need to transition out. So when I transitioned out, I first learned the skill. The number one that I want to share is, when you're learning the skill, you got to give maximum in. Okay, so it's not going to be 1 hour a day, or you got to go full in. If you're going to learn, let's say a learning, let's talk about, if a movie, a Hindi movie, okay, or a Bollywood movie, it takes 3 hours to watch. If you sit in 3 hours, you complete in one day. But if you sit 1 hour a day, it'll take you 3 days,
Yeah.
right? So the question you want to ask yourself is, how soon or how fast you want to learn the skill, right?
Mm.
So when you learn the skill, once you learn the skill, now you got to go and apply the skill. Now at first you're going to be really terrible at it, right? Remember I said practice, practice, practice. When you go in, at first you will feel terrible. To get to one level, you got to practice. Now again, if you need about, let's say, 10 hours to practice, and if you do only 1 hour a day, you have to understand it will take you at least 10 days. So you have to have that patience that it will be 10 days. Now, if I was, think about this, when you watch a movie in one shot, 3 hours, if you watch 1 hour today, tomorrow when you start the movie, you're like, what did I, what, where was I yesterday? You fast forward, rewind, right? And then
Yeah.
you watch another. So that part where you have to recap what happened, that is a loss of productivity. So when you're practicing your skills, if you do 1 hour a day, and if it takes 10 hours, it does not take 10 days. It
Mm.
might take 10 days plus another recap on every day. You have to understand that. So if you're a housewife and you're saying, I want to only do 1 hour, you just need to know it will take a bit longer to reach a particular level. When you reach a particular level, that's when people will want you to close for
Mm.
them. So this thing is key, because this is what builds up that foundation. If you want to reduce this, you spend 3 4 hours a day upfront. When you get to one level, initially you might have to do more than 3 4 hours a day just to see how it goes. When you're good at it, then you can take 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day. So the flow is learning full in, practicing full in. When you start taking closing call, it might be more than 1 2 hours at first. When you're good at it, you can start giving productivity. Then you can take, okay, now I've adjusted my schedule, 1 hour today, 2 hours tomorrow, 3 hours day after. That's when you will get there. So you're not going to get to 1 hour per day the day one. It doesn't
Mm.
happen, because you've
Mm.
not learned the skill.
Yeah.
It's that process. but it'll get there if you just stick with it. So keep in your mind, chalo, the next 6 months I will start here, and by 6 months I will reach 1 hour a day. Earlier might be 4 5 hours a day, then 3 4 hours a day, then 2 3 hours a day, then 1 hour a day. But it is a process that we go through.
Yeah,
Hope
this
that
is
makes sense.
something, this is something it makes sense. Yeah. So first they have to really practice expertise on the skill, then
Yeah,
they can really spend 1 hour, 2 hours. But
yes.
any piece of advice like how they can approach after the training, after the
Hmm.
practice, how they can
Yeah.
approach get the job opportunity,
So
part
a
time
couple
job.
of job opportunities here is, if you look on certain websites online, like in India, what is a good website to go find a job?
Naukri people
Yeah,
use
go on
Monster.
that website, look for sales job, looks, the term closing might be fairly new in that industry, but look for sales roles, look for high ticket roles, and look for part time, talk to them. uh, in fact, what you can start with is, you can also start with a customer support role, for example, because that's actually picking up the phone and talking. you know
Hmm.
a lot of people, they do sales, but they're not very confident in picking up and talking the call. So maybe you can do a support role for like 2 3 hours a day for maybe 2 3 months. You can do from home. A lot of support roles are remote. Get comfortable with the phone, get comfortable with the phone. I would say that was the feeling. When you're comfortable with the phone, next time you go for a sales role and they're going to actually interview you on the call, you are now comfortable, you know what to say. Your chances to get the role is a lot higher. So if you've never done sales before, you can start with support, because
Hmm.
support is a form of sales. Customer is complaining all the time. How do you handle that complaint? How do you stay calm? That helps,
Hmm.
right? And then you can do the sales. There are a lot of jobs about sales. Apply that as well. Look in your network. Stay around communities that actually teaches you sale. Stay around that. Stay connected with people. Look at people in the industry that are actually doing a lot of advertising. Look at people in the industry that are doing a lot of webinars. Approach them. Offer, give value. Say that, don't pay me, I'll come in, I'll support your team, I'll be in your support of your team, so you can grow up the ladder. Okay, so I've given you a few ideas here, but if you go back, re-listen to this, you will actually know exactly what to do. Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of suggestions,
Yes.
Sukhdevji. Now
Yeah.
I know, like you are really a very good father and a caring husband. Like how you all manage both?
So it's actually, so look, for me is, I value family a lot. Okay, I absolutely value family a lot. So when I was in my job, I was trying to quit my job. It was like really tough time. That how can I actually practice? Okay, so I spoke to my wife. I had a good chat with my wife as well. I said, look, give me 12 months. Just give me 12 months to really do this. So we had a conversation. So she was really supportive with me, and when I was, the practice time, the role play time, that is key. Maximize your dedication out there. So because I was able to do that in the first 12 months, once I got good at that, then I could balance my time. Okay, but when you're learning a new skill, the balance does not exist. Okay, there is no work life balance, it does not exist. You got to speak to your partner, you got to speak to your spouse to say, can you help me, can you support me, I need 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever. And as a female, sometimes it might be a little bit more challenging, because for a female, they have to look at the house, have to look at the cooking, they got to look at kids, they might have in-laws at home. So from a female perspective, it is actually more challenging. So number one is, speak to your partner, your husband, to say, look, I want to do this. Can you support me? Can we hire someone as a help to look after the kids, do the cooking? So you got to speak to your partner first. Once your partner is on the journey, things fall in place. Okay, but without that conversation, you're not going to be able to give time with family, or you're not going to be able to give time with kids, because you got to learn. And if you don't give time to learning first, you will always feel that you're not good enough. You will always feel that there's not enough confidence. But once I switched and I spoke to my wife, I got that. I got the time to learn, I got the time to practice, and I was able to then later on spend time with the family. So I've given you both perspectives. I hope that makes sense and that helps.
Yeah, that makes sense, Sukhdevji. There is a
Yep.
question from Subiksha.
Sure. So I'll read it out. The question is, I just wanted to know at what point, Sukhdevji, you thought it's right, you wanted to move from 9 to 5 and move into your own business. Which moment? Good question. I think I answered this a bit earlier, but I'll elaborate on this. So when I was in my job, I was actually making good money. Okay. But I understood that for me to transition out of my job into my own business, the number one skill I needed is to be able to sell, bring clients in. Because when you have your business, it might sound really good. Hey, I've got a business. It might sound fantastic. But if your business does not bring in money, does not bring in a sale, you don't have a business. So what I did is I wanted to learn how to do sales. That's number one. Learn the skill. Learn selling skills, nothing else. Learn how to close a deal. And then now the income that I had, I actually needed to say that I need to do match my sales that's coming in, match the income to a particular level. Okay. So when I was working a job, I started saving. I started saving money. So I sort of said, look, if I have a savings for at least 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever is comfortable to you, have that runway for yourself, so that when you're in business, your savings works, and the sale that you have brought in also adds to your savings. Once you reach that comfortable level of savings, then you make the transition. Before you make the transition, you are doing two things. That two things, you got to juggle it. It is going to be tough. Okay, it's going to be tough. Don't just quit and start your business. No, you got to have that transition period. For me, the transition was 18 months. When I first decided to the time I quit, it was 18 months. Now I know the process, and if you were to do it, you could do it in 12 months. But for me, it took 18 months. But if you stick with it, you'll be able to transition. So have the cash, have the skill, maintain the savings and cash flow, so that when you quit your job, you have a bit of savings to go for at least, I would say, at least 6 months. Okay.
Yeah. And what is the one piece of advice to women who, whom we want them to consider sales as a career, who wants to grow in sales?
Yep. So one piece of advice would actually be, look, don't look at it from a sales perspective, okay? Look at it from when you're going to be able to sit home and close the deal. Look at it from a point that what difference would it make to your life, right? If you have that opportunity, what else could you do? You could be home, you could be with your kids, you can make money, you will feel more confident, you'll actually be more proud. Look at it from that perspective. Okay. And there are a lot of opportunities, not just sales, but sales is one of it. Okay. So my advice is, don't look at it from the money perspective. I'm going to make this much money, I'm going to make this. Look at it more from the perspective of why do you want to do it? If you want more confidence, if you want more time with family, if you want more like internal satisfaction, because that, when the times are tough, it will keep you going. So my advice is, focus on why you're doing what you want to do. And if it's very strong, and you know ki, and it could be for yourself, you could say that I want to have at least 1 years of savings in my bank. That's fine, you know it. You will be very focused. And when you're very focused, no matter how tough it is, you will grow. But get that reason why you want to do sales. That would be the first reason, and my number one advice, before you take on that aspect.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yep.
And I believe, any successful leaders, the daily habits also plays important, the discipline.
Hmm.
Like, what is your daily habits, Sukhdevji?
So for me is, I'm a very family person. So I, in the morning, I'll play with my kids are very young right now. They're five. Actually, one is going to turn 7 next month and 5 in March. So they're still very young. So I spend a lot of time with them in the morning. I spend, because that just gives me that joyful feeling. That just gives me a feeling ki, Arey, this is the reason why I'm. So that just makes me in a good mood.
Got it.
So every day I do that. Every day I spend some time. It sets the tone of the day that I'm in a good mood. So that would be my number one thing that I personally do. So find for yourself what makes you feel good, what makes you feel like, it gets your day going. That gets my day going.
Mm.
And at night, before I go to bed, I just have a bit of a chat with my wife. I put the kids, I also play with the kids at night as well. So I start the day and I end the day with my kids, and that's
Mm.
how I actually quite like it.
Wow, that's different from all other my guests. So starting with
Yeah,
the family, ending with the family, I think
yeah.
it's a good idea.
That
And what is
that
the once? Yeah, what is
go for
the
it.
yeah?
No, no, you continue. That's it.
Okay, what is the one secret of your success? Only one word if you want to put in.
Focus. Focus would be that. Yeah.
Okay, so how people approach you, like if they want to?
So look, you can Google my name, Sukhdev Sethi as well. I'm on Instagram. You can share them my Instagram link. Just search my full name. I'm on YouTube as well. I share a lot of stuff, but the easiest way is just Google my full name. You'll find my Instagram, my YouTube. You can connect me on Instagram or YouTube. Yeah.
And any specific book or something you want to suggest to sales people, Sukhdevji?
So from a sales, there's actually a lot of books, right? There's actually a lot of books. It depends where you are in your journey. Okay. So for me, what really changed me in terms of being able to give a lot more to people is I had a book called Go Giver. Okay.
Ah,
It's a
wow,
book,
I
Go
know it.
Giver. That book makes you feel key. If you give more to people, it'll become a better place. So it changes your mindset in terms of I'm not here just to sell, sell, sell. I'm here to actually help you, make a difference to you, right? So when you pick up the phone, you know internally key you are making a difference in this world. You are making an impact in this world. So I would suggest the book Go Giver by Bob
Bob
Burge.
Burg.
Yeah,
Bob.
Bob Burge. Yeah, that's right.
In fact, he was a guest on our show.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just take an opportunity to just to introduce my book. I've just today only I've pasted in this show. It's a cumulative selling. I've already completed the writing, and the editing is going on now, so it is just for the audience. It I'm going to convey in this book cumulative selling. It is like, as Sukhdevji also said, mindset is also plays a role. It is just not a sales skills. You should have a mindset, you should have an integrity, you should have a discipline. All put together, cumulative will going to give you a success. The subtitle is Learn the Race Formula for a Sustainable Sales Success with Work-Life Balance. So I'm going to talk in detail about race. R for routines, A for action 10x, I for integrity, um, S for sales skills, E for effective mindset. So all put together will give you a sustainable sales success. And last question is, since I talk about integrity, like do you see integrity also plays an important role, Sukhdevji?
Yeah. So integrity is actually inbuilt in whatever you do, right?
Mm.
Integrity is if you call it out that I'm integrity, then you're not really like if you say, for example, I'll do what I do and you do it, that's integrity, right? So I think it's all inbuilt. It is absolutely key. If you say I'm going to focus on something, you have the integrity to focus. So it's inbuilt into everything you do. It's actually really the foundation. But it's sort of I feel that it's implied that you need to have that. Otherwise, you're not going to be true to yourself. You're not going to be true to others. You're just going to go from one thing to another. So I think that's absolutely key.
So we are end of the show, Sukhdevji. So a lot of insights on closing, and the step very simple way. I think everyone can easily understand how to shift from 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship, closing process. Everything was awesome. Thank you, Sukhdevji,
You're
for your
welcome.
time.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.